On the Voti Park field, I know it appears that a lot isn't getting done or nothing's being done, but there actually is a lot of work being done behind the scenes. The Green Acres grant is approximately $630,000 in grant money and approximately $120,000 in a low-interest loan. The issue that we've been having, that we actually resolved recently, hopefully, is the issue of the ROSI, the Recreation Open Space Inventory. Green Acres sent us up a list of properties that they believe should be included in our ROSI, designated as parkland and open space. This list had every property the town owns on this list, which has, some properties, could be designated in the future for future use. We could sell property, and they wanted all of the property on the ROSI. And we refused to do that. And we also had some issues with acreage, what some of the size of the lots were of properties that were on the ROSI. So after months and months of going back and forth with Green Acres, we called them up, we had a meeting in my office, we went over everything. It looks like we came to an agreement on which properties would be properly placed on the ROSI. Right now we're in the process, and we just submitted the project agreement. Once the project agreement is signed and submitted, then that 2-year period starts running. So that's the stage that we're at now, and it took us a long time to get to that stage, and a lot of behind the scene work between Chuck, myself, Mr. Turrett's office, and the attorney. So the process is moving forward.
If I might just add to that, so everybody in the public as well as the council understands that we took the Township of Teaneck took the position that the only properties that should be listed on the ROSI are those properties that have been designated by a Teaneck council as open space or parkland in some form, either by ordinance or resolution. And what this meant was we had to trace the record on literally 100 pieces of property to determine whether or not a Teaneck council took appropriate action to designate the property. And if we could find such action, then we agreed it should be listed on the ROSI. But we weren't going to agree to list property that wasn't approved by a governing body, which means if it was listed by the Environmental Commission or the Master Plan or any civic body that did not have the approval of a sitting council, then it wasn't properly designated for the ROSI. The law requires that only the council can designate open space. The master plan doesn't designate open space. It can recommend, and the master plan is not approved by the council. That is not a document. Many people have a misunderstanding of the master plan. The master plan is a blueprint approved by a planning board, but it is not adopted. No master plan is adopted by any sitting council. And if a council wants to do something that the master plan recommends, it has to do so in 90% of the time by an ordinance or at least by a resolution. And that was the position we took, and we were able to convince Green Acres that that's the proper lawful position. There are 2 open pieces still left that we're trying to search for the deed, and the deed doesn't appear in the public record anyplace. I mean, we'll try to, it'll ultimately appear, but it's 2 pieces adjacent to Continental Park that we have not been able, that the Green Acres people want us to designate it. They feel it's been designated, and they want us to prove that there's nothing in the deed that was given to the township when they acquired the property, and we're having difficulty locating the deed even in the public record. But other than that, the agreement has been signed just the other day, has been sent out to Green Acres, and hopefully the time period will begin to run and we finalize that. But I think it's important that everyone understand what comprises and what authorizes a document to be a property to be listed on the ROSI.
Yeah, just